that was a really good take. Man, she's such a nerd. Oh, delivery day. I totally forgot. Thank you. Yes. Awesome.
Hey, Mitch.
Oh.
What's this?
Hey there, Anna. Well, I'm glad you asked. This is makeup.
Oh, all the work you have to make up.
No, all the work I have to make up comes next week.
Oh.
This is makeup.
Oh, like mascara and blush.
No, not that kind of makeup. It's movie makeup. Oftentimes we'll use mascara and blush to not look like a monster. This stuff will make you into a monster. It's very exciting. And that is what we're talking about on today's episode. Theatrical makeup, movie makeup. And I'm really excited about it. How about you?
I'm really excited.
All right, well, let's do this.
Camera. Action. Labs. The labs.
Fog labs. Camera.
Action.
I'm introducing
Anna!
Where's Anna?
Lights.
Mitch!
Say what again? Lights.
Camera.
Action.
Film. Labs. Film. Laboratorium.
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
And that's a wrap, everybody.
Film makeup artists, well, they have a really tough job. They gotta make sure everybody on screen looks awesome. And it can be more than just blush and beauty makeup. It can get a little complex. Sometimes they have to turn regular human beings into other creatures, like aliens or monsters. It's pretty cool, but pretty tough.
Oh, wow. Okay, so one person does everyone on the film set?
You know, way back in the day, some actors used to do their very own makeup, but it's not like that anymore. Now, we have a ton of makeup artists on film sets, and in fact, those can be broken down into about 4 different categories.
Labs.
One of the first roles we'll look at is key makeup artist. The key makeup artist is in charge of designing each individual actor's makeup. Key makeup artists apply makeup to the lead actors and other talent. Their job is to complete complicated designs. The key makeup artist leads the other makeup artists and makeup assistants, always checking to ensure the continuity of makeup throughout the film. Next, we have makeup artists. Makeup artists are responsible for applying makeup to the actors who are not leads in the film and the other supporting talents on screen. Makeup artists are under the supervision of the key makeup artists and are responsible for completing designs that were made by the key makeup artist. Third, we have makeup assistant. Makeup assistants are responsible for keeping makeup kits clean and organized. They also help the makeup artist with body makeup application and other small tasks. A makeup assistant may also be asked to take photos of the makeup completed on set, so they can make sure that each time the actor is on camera, it looks the same. Lastly, we have special effects. Special effect makeup artists, also known as SVX makeup, are responsible for any of those more complicated makeup effects, like applying prosthetics or using foam latex. These artists have a really cool job.
The labs.
The entire makeup department operates out of a makeup trailer while they're on set. And they're on set the entire time of a production. This is just in case any touch-ups or changes are needed to the makeup. It's amazing. They are there from the start of production and the end of production. They are very essential on a film crew.
Wow, that's a really long time. I wish I could meet someone to do my makeup like that.
Well, lucky for you, I know just who to call. It's Charlie from Dawn's Hobby Shop, and she knows a ton about movie makeup. Should we give her a call?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Charlie from Don's Hobby Shop, and I'm here to give you a little bit of history and background into the history of makeup, and then maybe move towards a time when you'll get to see some really cool makeup. The history of makeup is really interesting. Try to remember that before film, the only makeup that was around in the late 1800s was makeup they used in theater on stage. So they would use these grease sticks, and they would use crepe, which is like either wool or human hair. It's very fuzzy, and they would cut it and they would glue it on to make beards. And they would use something called spirit gum to glue it on with. And spirit gum essentially was made from tree resins. So those were kind of the very basic things that they had in theater, you know, before in the 1900s. And then film came, and they had to adapt. In 1902, there was a film made, all these of course are silent film, by Georges Méliès called Man in the Moon, where they had a man, the moon had a face, and the face actually moved. And that was actually the very first prosthetic that was created for a movie back in 1902. But the funny thing about film, and you don't think about this now because there's so many makeup artists, but up until the end of the 1920s, around there, most of the actors did their own makeup. They did not specifically have makeup artists doing the makeup on the actors in movies, in the silent films, and then into the talkies in the 20s. So a lot of the lead actors did their own makeup, and some did a really good job, and maybe some a little less so. But as makeup started to get more complicated, makeup artists started to be hired and to work on films. My favorite makeup artist is Jack Pierce, and he showed up in the 30s, late 20s and 30s, and he did a very famous film called Frankenstein. So he created that very famous Boris Karloff Frankenstein makeup. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, because I know it's really old, you probably, I'm sure, seen pictures of some kind of Boris Karloff in the Frankenstein makeup. And back then, they didn't have things like this to just glue on Boris Karloff's forehead at the time. So Jack Pierce was creating every day on Boris Karloff. He was building the makeup on his face every day, doing the makeup on him every day from scratch, and then taking it off at the end of the night. And it would take several hours to put it on. And you have to remember, because this was a new thing, they were MacGyvering and just trying to find things that would work to create what they wanted to do. And so some of those things that they used on the actors were comfortable, and some of them were very uncomfortable. Boris Karloff's monster had 2 bolts in his neck that Jack Pierce attached. And they left scars on Boris Karloff that he had for the rest of his life because of the products that were used. Thankfully, we don't have things like that today. But so bearing in mind that every day Boris Karloff would sit in this chair for several hours, and then at the end of the night, there was a long period of taking it off carefully and safely, to the point where there were times when Boris Karloff actually just left the makeup on, went home, and he would sleep with his head between 2 books to try to keep himself from moving, because he just didn't want to go through that process of removal again and then having to go through it the next day. So the next morning when he showed up, they still had to do some repairs, because obviously there'd be some of a mess up of what happened while he was sleeping, but at least he didn't have to be in the chair as long, and he didn't have to go through the removal the night before. This wasn't all the time, but he did do it occasionally because he found it incredibly hard to go through. So Jack Pierce was an amazing makeup artist. He also did The Mummy on Boris Karloff, and that was like a 4 to 8 hour makeup. So think about what they had to go through and what they used. And they were using products. They were using cotton balls, they were using collodion, they were using spirit gum, they were using grease, and they were using a dirt called Fuller's Earth. And so they would just go into their kitchen and pull out things, or their garage, and they were trying to be creative with things that they had, because a lot of things hadn't yet been created, so they had to make them themselves. And some of the things that they chose to do these makeups with were great, and some of them not so great. So luckily, some of these things have fallen to the wayside. If you look at the Frankenstein monster, his eyelids are very heavy, and Jack Pierce did that by putting putty on his eyelids to make them look really heavy. And the funny thing is, some of the products that Jack Pierce used on the Frankenstein monster makeup, we still use today. We use spirit gum, and we still use putty, and collodion, a type of collodion is still used for scarring. So a lot of those products are still around, but luckily we've also made more products that are much more comfortable and easy to work with, and easier on the actor, and that don't take as long. So in 1939, another movie came out that you might have heard of, The Wizard of Oz. And the makeup artist on that, Jack Dawn, created foam latex prosthetics for the Tin Man, for the lion, for the actors, so that they didn't have to have their character built on top of their face layer by layer each day. They could glue on this. And how they would do that process is they would take a cast of the actor's face.
Wow, that's really cool, hey?
Yeah.
So they would get a cast, and this is used by putting alginate on the actor. And then there's plaster bandages, and then there's pouring plaster. It's quite a process. But then once they had a cast of the actor's face, then they could take plasticine and they could sculpt on the face a nose or a forehead or whatever it was that they needed for the character of that actor. And then they could take a cast of that, and they could create a prosthetic that would fit directly on the actor's face. So Jack Dawn foam prosthetics made life a lot easier for actors and makeup artists, because once they had this cast, they could make multiple pieces off of it for whatever the production. Okay? And then even they could do casts like ear casts. So when you watch Lord of the Rings movies or Hobbit movies, well, they would have cast the actor's ears in order to create ear tips that would fit the ear of that actor. So casting and then foam prosthetics and latex prosthetics made life a ton easier for actors and makeup artists. However, I do have to talk about one actor in the 1920s who did his own makeup and was an insanely talented actor and makeup artist. His name was Lon Chaney. With Lon Chaney, who created The Man of a Thousand Faces, who created dozens and dozens of characters, and sometimes he did more than one character in a single movie. He created two that are super famous that people still talk about today, and if you haven't seen them, try to see them. They're great. He did the original Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the makeup for Quasimodo was amazing and super uncomfortable for him to wear. And he also created the makeup for the first Phantom of the Opera. And this was a man who was a talented makeup artist as well as an actor. And he could do both, but not all actors had that skill. And so definitely the need for makeup artists who specifically were doing makeup was really, really important, so that the actors could be focused on what their job was. But yes, Lon Chaney could do both, and he was amazing, and he is still revered, and his name is legendary. In fact, I believe his makeup kit is in a museum in California that you can see occasionally when they put it on display. That's how amazing Lon Chaney was. Check him out.
Wow, she's amazing.
So there are many pioneering makeup artists in the early years, and another one was Ben Nye. Ben Nye had a prolific career as a makeup artist, but he also created his own makeup line. We carry it here. It's a hugely extensive line. One of his earliest movies that he worked on was Gone with the Wind, and when he finished working on that, he was inspired to start creating makeup palettes for women of color, because they didn't have that. So from then on, he pioneered his own makeup line, which you can get anywhere all over the world. So Ben Nye, again, another pioneer in makeup. Okay, and now we'll talk about another one of my favorite makeup artists, and his name was Dick Smith. And I was so lucky to be in Los Angeles years ago at a makeup convention, and I was able to go to a panel that Dick Smith was talking at. He was really old by then, but it was incredible to listen to him talk about his career. He made a movie that is super famous called The Exorcist. He also did scores of other amazing movies, and he pioneered some of the most amazing aging makeup, like he did on Dustin Hoffman and Little Big Man. Dick Smith also created Pax paints, which are a paint where you mix an adhesive called Prozaid and makeup, and he created that to go on foam latex pieces. And Pax paint is used today still, and we actually carry it, and it's used in film now. So Dick Smith was another pioneer, and he received a Life Achievement Award years ago from the Academy, which was really, really exciting because a lot of us had so much admiration. Which leads me to the Academy Awards. You guys have all heard of the Oscars. Well, the Oscars have been giving out awards since the 1920s, but amazingly enough, the Academy did not start giving out Academy Awards to makeup and hairstyling until 1981, which is mind-boggling because makeup is such an important part of every film, not just monster movies or sci-fi movies. Lots of movies. Every movie needs some kind of makeup, whether it's aging makeup or trauma makeup. Like the list goes on. And so it's kind of strange that they had never given out Oscar. They didn't have a yearly Oscar like they did for sound or film or cinematography until 1981. And this is how it happened. In 1980, a movie came out, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Elephant Man. And the makeup on John Hurt, the actor, for the role of John Merrick, the Elephant Man, was so insanely complex, and it just looked so incredible that the Academy got complaints saying, why is the Elephant Man now not getting an Oscar for makeup? This is ridiculous. Well, it didn't get one because they didn't have one, but the next year in 1981, the Academy established its first yearly Academy Award for makeup and hairstyling, and the first recipient was Rick Baker for An American Werewolf in London. And actually, Rick Baker has 7 Oscars. He has the most makeup Oscars of any makeup artist. So thankfully, the Elephant Man did a good thing for a makeup artist by bringing in an award that probably should have been available to makeup artists years and years and years ago. They did give out 2 achievement awards throughout the years to 2 makeup artists, and one was to John Chambers, who had done the original Planet of the Apes. So they did occasionally make a nod to the makeup artists, but it wasn't until 1981 where the artists started to get recognized every year. And thankfully, that still continues.
Again, I love calling the professionals. They know so much. And they've invited you down to get your makeup done with Amanda.
Wait, really?
Yes, really.
Wait. You need to know, this could take a really long time.
Well, as of late, I've got nothing but time. So you go ahead and have fun. But the big question is, what are you gonna get? A zombie or a werewolf? Maybe even Frankenstein.
I was actually kind of thinking like, I don't know, an elf, maybe a butterfly.
Yeah, elf butterfly, or butterfly elf. I would do the same thing. It's more important that you go and have fun, okay?
Yep, bye.
Oh, and before you leave, can you pick up my anti-aging cream? You know how my face gets.
Yeah, no problem.
Labs.
So I went to Dawn's hobby shop, and it was filled with tons of really cool things. They had makeup, masks, and lots of costumes. I met Amanda, and I told her I wanted to be a butterfly elf. And she got started right away.
Labs.
The first thing she did was find some really cool prosthetic elf ears, and she glued them over top of my ears. This took a really long time, and it felt weird having them on. Next, Amanda put some makeup on my face to match the skin tone of the ears. Then, she put some beautiful gems on the bottoms of my ears to make them look like they were pierced. She added 3 on each side. Next, she put really cool gem patterns on my forehead. I loved it. Then, she did eyeshadow. It was baby blue with wings. She added my favorite, glitter. Next, there was some touch-up to my eyeshadow, and she added some blue blush to my cheeks. Then, she did something really cool. She added designs to my makeup. It really brought it all together. They were like small white dots and flowers. I even put on a butterfly bracelet to make it look like I had butterflies on my body. Next, she did some more details to the makeup and added some blue lip tint. I really loved it. To finish it off, I was given a headband covered in some most beautiful flowers. I loved my makeup so much, and Amanda did an amazing job. I really looked like a butterfly elf. Thanks, Dawn Hobby Shop.
The labs.
I'm back!
Oh, God! Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Anna, is that you?
Mitch?
Yeah, of course it's me. You look awesome. You look like a butterfly elf.
Thanks. Remember, though, we were getting our makeup done for film labs?
Oh, yes, I remember. Oh, that was like forever ago.
Oh, come on, grow up.
Look at me. I am growing up. Speaking of which, did you grab me my anti-aging pills?
Yeah, about that.
You forgot my pills? Anyways, I hope you guys had fun learning all about makeup on this episode of the Film Labs. I gotta go get some aging pills, so my name...
It's Mitch.
My name's Mitch.
And my name's Anna, and we're the Film Labs. All right, let's go.
Oh, goodness.
Oh. Yep, we're done.
Anna? Wait, Anna. Anna, I need you. Get up.
Laboratorium.
Butterfly elf or something. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like,
Why?
I remember I was getting my makeup done.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Shoot, let's try that again. Okay. One more thing. Oh. All right.
Bum, 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 na, 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 na. I'm done. Wait, you ready? I can be Mitch.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Time to become an old man.
It's great.
Oh.
Ugh, I don't like it. It's weird. Hey, at least it shows he has abs.
Oh.
If I slapped you, would it hurt?
Huh?
If I slapped you, would it hurt?
Yeah. Oh.
Really?
Yep, Amanda's gonna do it right away.
This could take a long time.
This could take a long time. Boom, dance. Okay. Okay, one more time. Woo! So Anna, it's like as soon as I touch that box, my brain goes blank. Okay, yawn it out.